Hi there, my name is Michael Lee, and today I'm going to be talking about branches. So in GitLab at the moment, we display branches in the product, kind of separating them through an overview, active, stale, and all. As you can see, for our scenario, the stale branches for me is kind of useless because most of these that are listed here are quite old, 8 years to be exact. And within our active branches, we have many branches that are active. So active means branches that are less than 3 months old since the last push or commit to it, right? So right now we have 81 pages of branches, and that equates to about 1,620 branches. And trying to navigate and trying to organize all this becomes really hard. And at the same time, if I was trying to find a specific branch, let's say I was going to do like project settings, I could click enter. I'm expecting to filter one of those 1,600 branches, but as a result, I get a mixture of things that are all stale, as in those are branches that are older than 3 months. So here's one that's 7 months ago and all the way down to 8 years ago. We have ways to clean this up. We have this feature called delete merge branches, but there's an issue with that one too, because the concept of merge branches in this context thinks that both a brand new branch and a future branch that was merged 4 months ago are actually the same thing. So here is a brand new branch that is 0 commits ahead, and here is a feature branch that got merged manually per se. In reality, if I clicked on delete merge branches, both of these branches are deleted. And I think this is one of those things where in the past I removed the label merged because I felt that was misleading. At the same time, this causes problems for people who do manual merges and don't use merge requests. They no longer have a signal to understand which one's merged. So that's a separate issue. But back to the case of hand, we have this ability to clean up. It's a very heavy-handed approach, and we can't get really granular, and the user doesn't have any control on actually which branches gets deleted. There's no way to select. So I'd like to introduce this issue today, or epic, around the organization of branches. And this looks at four main themes. The ability to archive branches, the introduction of bulk actions to branches, reorganizing how we present branches within GitLab, and finally introducing complex filtering for branches. So with archiving branches, this is the ability to delete a branch, but before doing so, we would give it a tag. So if we jump into here, kind of the flow that is being proposed, and you can jump into here to leave your comments, is starting off with an action to archive a branch as a tag, and then there'll be some kind of prompt to like get you to confirm this change. And as a result, after that's done, that branch will be no longer visible within the branches list, but you would have a reference to it as a tag. So if you jump into the tags, you can see them there, and it would still maintain the same branch name and with the tags, with the archive slash prepended to it. Commits that were made with this branch would still say that there will be still a reference to this tag, because that's how commits work. We search and we do present that up. So it is a way that we can clean up our branches view, but also give a way to have a reference to it. And should you want to restore the branch in the future for whatever reason, one thing that I feel that would be something that would be useful to introduce is the ability to create a branch from a tag. So from all tags that exist in GitLab, you could click the actions and say create branch. When that happens, this follows the same behavior that we have today when you create a new branch, where you can specify the branch name and where that's being, which reference we want to take from. So in that drop down today in production, you can choose different branch names or different tags. And in this scenario here, we already kind of hard code where you want to create a new branch from. So that's this tag here, and you want to give it a name. So the name by default will take whatever the tag name is and stick it in here. But you want to give users control. So that's why this is open to editing. So once the branch is created, there's some feedback here using the toast, and clicking on this would take you to the branch itself. We think that doing something like this will help clean up the sea of branches that exist within the active and stale areas, and help maintain or make navigating and searching for branches that you really want to work with more manageable. Like I said previously, we have this feature called delete merge branches. This is a type of bulk action, an action that affects multiple branches at one time. And like I said before, I want to get more granular on this. And that's why I want to introduce bulk actions to branches. So if I jump into that right now, the idea here will be you would enter a bulk editing mode. And from there, we would open up like a selection tool. So checkboxes on the side, and allowed you to select all. So at the moment, I'm thinking just selecting only the visible branches, and then you would like delete and do stuff to it like that. And this gives you that ability to like select, deselect different branches. If it's a branch that cannot be deleted, such as the default branch, that option wouldn't even be available. We could hide it, or we could just disable that action. That's something that's up for consideration. This is one pattern that's used within GitLab for bulk actions. And I'm open to feedback on this. So you can select whatever, and then you can delete it or archive it. And I think that kind of combines the ability, that granular control that people can have to maintain their branches, rather than clicking the action right now, delete merge branches. And that could include branches you don't really want to include, such as brand new branches. You may have seen in some of the screenshots that there are extra tabs or missing tabs, and one of them might be yours, or the missing of the overview tab. So I think that's just to show that this epic itself is still open to being changed. But the idea here is that at the moment, if I go to branches, like I said, if I jump into overview, like what's useful is this. And if I want to see more, I'm going to click on show more active branches, but that essentially takes me to active. It does show me stale branches. In this use case, it's not that useful because these are really old. So at the moment, I'm questioning whether there is a use of having the overview tab, and rather we just jump straight into this. As a result, this would be like one API call instead of making two to get both a list of the active and the stale. In this scenario here, we would just call and get the active branches, be it a larger size, larger amount of data coming back, but that's something I'm open to some feedback as well. So yes, removing the overview and running with just active and stale. In the active state, regardless of how old the default branch is, ideally we want to keep at the top of the list. Stale and all work as how it is currently, no changes there. And then it gets into this kind of idea. This one's a little bit more loose around the complex filtering of branches. So as I demonstrated earlier, the search functionality that's up here right now. So if I search for anything up here, it doesn't search only the active. It actually searches all the branches. Hence, any search that I do here, any search that I do here, so if I search for tests, it takes me over to from the active tab to the alt tab and kind of does the search here. And as you can see, it includes everything. 7 years ago, 23 hours ago. It's a whole collection of both active and stale because it's looking at all. So if we want to get more granular and give users better control on search and eventually the bulk actions and like how they manage their branches, one extreme approach to this is to introduce a more complex filtering to branches. So what does that look like? So the idea here is to adopt a similar pattern that we have within the world of issues and merge requests by using the search tokens at the top. And some of the ideas I have at the moment around the different searches that we could have is having push by. So it's not really an author, but that could make sense. But this would be users who push to a certain branch, the date when it was last updated, and not the date, but like kind of like a range. Merge requests, kind of like the state of it, and whether the commits are contained, commits, protected, and search for name. So what that looks like in the filtering world is kind of like this, where I'm just going to zoom out just a little bit. Zoom back in, sorry. So we have push by is or is not, and then a user. Last updated, we don't have a date range capabilities in most areas using the token, so we're kind of using large like points. 3 months is interesting because we currently use that as a point for referencing whether something's active or stale. So if it's greater than equal 3 months, then that's stale. Less than, then that would be active. But you know, we could introduce other date ranges such as 30 days, which would be reflective of a month, or 1 year. The merge requests, whether it has any merge requests. If it doesn't have any merge requests, so it would just be nil in the column, and then you can filter on whether the merge request is open or merged. Just the different states there. With commits, this is that scenario where there are no commits ahead or behind. At the moment, contained in target is the scenario when it's 0. This happens when you create a brand new branch, or if you merged one branch to the target. All the commits would then be contained in the target, and that's 0. So that could be used in lieu of the merged state for teams that don't use merge requests, and it would help them give control of deleting not only properly, like they could exclude branches that are brand new when doing that action, so it gives them a little bit more control when doing that. So rather than just being a blind click to delete a whole bunch of stuff, we're giving you a little bit more friction here, but in the end it's giving you a lot more control. The ability to search whether a branch is protected, just a simple yes no, and then search for name would be like the title of the branch itself. All in all, these different filters can be mixed and matched, and creating some interesting queries. So what that might look like is you know, if you can have filters for protective branches only, or if you only search for feature branches, or here if you're looking for stale branches where all the commits are already contained in the target, then you would have a whole list of branches here, and then you would kind of invoke the bulk actions to then delete everything. So everything goes hand in hand. I think there are some stuff in here that can happen independently of one another, looking forward to hearing your feedback. Feel free to comment directly on this epic or in the issues and the relevant issues in there. If I missed any scenarios, please let me know of that too. Thank you.